The grass isn't always greener on the other side. It only appears to be greener. In life, when we are faced with our problems and our situation, it's easy to look at other people's life and other people's situation and wish to switch places or wish to, be somewhere else, wish to be doing something else because the grass looks so much greener over there. They look like they're happy, they look like they're having fun, they look like they have meaning, have purpose. The grass, it's always greener over there, but it's an optical illusion. And as you get closer to being where you thought the grass was so much greener, it turns out to be just the same as where you were. And the only difference now is that you're disappointed because you thought you were going to be in a better situation. You thought you were going to be better off, but in reality, you're the same or even worse off as you were before. So remember that the grass only appears to be greener on the other side. It actually isn't greener. And that brings us to thinking about how to cope with that and how to realize not to wish for things that only appear to be better than they actually are. And that's a hard question, but I believe you can do it by understanding that fact alone, that the grass only appears to be greener, and understanding that the meaning of life is to give life meaning. Life doesn't owe you a meaning. Life doesn't owe you anything. It's up to you to give life meaning with what you do and having a good attitude about it each and every day, because life doesn't owe you anything. You're entitled to your labor, but you're not entitled to the fruits of your labor, as the Bhagavad Gita would say. And you really need to come to terms with this, because if you don't, throughout your life, you're just going to be being pulled in each and every direction. What you're doing, you'll feel a lack of purpose, you'll feel a lack of ambition, and you'll see someone else or some other situation that looks so much better than yours, and then you'll get to that situation, and then before long you'll be bored again, and before long you'll be searching for something else, and before long you'll be in a different situation, and you'll realize that in the end outcome in all three situations was the same feeling, was the same loneliness, was the same feeling of being lost, because you thought the grass was going to be greener. You thought that this was going to fix all your problems. You thought once you got blank, you were going to be happy. Once you achieved that, you were going to be okay and you weren't going to need anything more. You know what I mean? You weren't going to, once you got that, you wouldn't have any more wants. You know what I mean? People want to be millionaires, and then right after they get $1 million, they want to be, they want to have $2 million. It's not, there's not a limit to where it stops. You're always going to want more. And if you can't be content with realizing that and can't be content with the situations you're in, then you're in trouble. And I believe there's a fine line in this, because there's balance in everything, and you need balance with ambition. Because if you don't have any ambition, then you're not going to get anything. All the great things that have been discovered, invented, there was great ambition behind it by people. People had ambition. They spent days, hours, they lost sleep over it because they were so ambitious. And, there's a balance for sure. You need ambition, but you need to have almost an ambition of pure love and pure desire for doing the task, not for the outcome. If your ambition is solely based on outcomes, then there's always going to be more you can get. But if your ambition is solely based on working hard, giving your best, depleting your energy, and leaving it all laid out on the table, then I believe there you can find happiness, and you can find fulfillment, because in the back of your head you gave it your all, and in the back of your head you did what was best, and that you had a good attitude while you were doing it. And that's really all you can ask of yourself. Marcus Aurelius says sanity is tying success to what we say and do, and insanity is tying success to what others say and do. So that's why we're not entitled to the fruits of our labors, because once you think you're entitled to the fruits of your labors, then you start giving control up. You start giving it to other people. If I thought I was entitled to a certain number of subscribers because of the amount of videos I posted and the amount of time I've put into it and so on and so forth, then I would be, sad and depressed or whatever it may be when I got to a threshold and I wasn't where I think I should be. But me knowing that I'm only entitled to my labor. I'm not entitled to one subscriber no matter what I do. I'm not entitled to one view no matter what I do. I'm only entitled to my labor, to working hard, to doing the best that I can, and to giving it my all. That is all that I'm entitled to. And once you can realize that, and once you can realize that the grass is always greener on the other side, at least it appears to be. It isn't greener, but it appears to be. Then you can give true ambition into what you are doing. And like I said, there's always a balance, because, personally, right now, I don't want to continue to work where I'm working, and I want to do something else. But I need to have that ambition to do something else. I can't just think that, okay, it's only an illusion that the life is better over here. I just need to stay where I am, because I don't think that's the case in my situation. But I think you need, like I said, the balance, but also the understanding that where you are isn't necessarily where you are meant to be. And what you're doing is not necessarily what you are meant to do forever. You know, things are training you for certain things. And what is in your control determines how the thing will play out. If I sit here and pout and, give up on all my hopes and dreams because of my job, then I'm not worthy of figuring out my purpose and, getting the work ethic that will be needed to get there. But if I can push through doing stuff that I don't want to do, even when I don't want to do it, and realizing that it's happening for me and not to me, then this is just a stepping stone, and this is preparing me for the next stage in my life. And that's how I like to view it, and that's how I think you need to view it. And if you don't view it that way, then two things will happen. You'll never get out of the situation you're in, and you'll think you're just destined for, mediocrity. And the other thing that'll happen is that you'll just jump new job, new lifestyle, new position to new thing over and over again, always looking for more somewhere, when realizing that the more has to come from within. And I think if you go at things with a good attitude, then, you know, destiny will treat you well, and what will happen is destined to happen, and you get what you give in attitude. So give a good attitude and you'll get a good life, I believe. And that's very like spiritual-esque, but I think you need a little bit of that in life. You got to have a little bit of feeling that you're almost, without being narcissistic, that you're almost destined for more. You're almost destined for greatness, and without being so prideful and narcissistic about it. But I think you need a little bit of manifestation. There's a book that I read a while ago, and it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And it just, it has been a long time since I read it, and it just popped into my mind talking about these things. But talks about the magic of thinking big, the magic of believing in yourself, the magic of setting high goals, the magic of thinking you can do things. And there's a fine line with everything because you don't want to be narcissistic or prideful in those ambitions, but you do need to have a feeling that, you can do it. It's like, I forget which animal, and it could be almost any animal actually, but they grow to their habitat. Or it's like I think your foot even, like if you wear a shoe that's too small for you, your foot won't grow. You grow to your habitat and you grow to the goals in your mind. If you have big ambitious goals, then you grow up, you build up to those goals because you need to. But if you have small goals, then you won't grow. If you keep setting goals that are just below your skill level, then you're not getting any better. But if you progressively overload your skill and set things just above your skill level, where if you fail, you learn a lot, but if you succeed, it feels good because it was just above your skill level, and then you go up to that skill level and just keep setting stuff a little higher and a little higher. Eventually, you're up here when you were down here. But if you set things lower than you, eventually you fall down to your goals. And things that used to be easy will become hard because that's now you're shooting right at your skill level. And with a track like that, you're going to be so accustomed to shooting low. You're just going to keep shooting lower and lower and lower and lower until you're too low to even progress or to produce anything like you used to be able to produce. There'd be a huge gap between who you were and who you are now. So I kind of went on a tangent there, but there's just an optical illusion. The grass is always greener on the other side, but you still do need to have ambition, and you still do need to think big, and you still do need to go for your dreams and your goals. But understand that once you get there, that other things may call out to you. But if it's your true goal, your true passion, your true purpose, don't be misled by the shiny objects because you found what it is and you found your thing. So don't let the optical illusion distract you once you do find it. But once you're trying to find it, explore, search things out, see what it is. Because, you might find out that as you get closer to something, the grass is staying green and you figured it out. You figured out where your goal was, you figured out where your purpose is, and then you can stay there with the realization that this is the only place you've ever come to where the grass didn't fade away as you got closer.